guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're talking about top items you should be prepping for SHTF situation that are currently still very cheap and affordable. And the reason I'm saying this, they are cheap and affordable at the moment because you probably I found myself just looking around the supermarket now, people seem to be stocking up a little bit more. No wonder we've been going through, guys, for the past, since the COVID, since, people have been sort of realizing a little bit that things could turn really quickly to not in a particularly nice direction, so it's very important to be prepared. And I've noticed that certain things that I've been prepping, buying before, say a year ago, are kind of gone up in price quite a lot. And it's kind of understandable because you can see everywhere in the news that the whole prepping scene are sort of kicking off a little bit and people are stocking up a little bit more. So the point is, guys, there's certain things that are kind of classed as a prepper items will eventually start increasing the price even more. So it's a good time right now to start stocking up if you haven't started. So if you are new to the channel, new to the prepping, guys, so hopefully this video will help you get you started with the cheap items you can buy pretty much very cheaply. So without further ado, I'm going to start with the basic one, and I do not like to show this on the camera because we all know this, guys, is a toilet roll, okay? And the reason is because we all know when the COVID happened, people were stocking up the trolleys of toilet paper, and everybody who did this kind of been looked with, frowned upon because, you're sort of stocking up with the toilet paper. I'm not saying now go and, fill your trolley, fill your boots out with the toilet roll. We should be generally been buying this over the course of the time. However, toilet roll is pretty much, unfortunately, a #1 item that you should be having for the SHTF situation. I've covered the video, guys. You can actually buy an alternative toilet roll, which is made in the little tablets. And I'll put the link somewhere up there and you can have a look. It's a really good space effective, I would say, way of stocking up on the toilet roll. Again, another way, guys, is buy it in bulk online. This way you don't have to be worried going in the supermarkets and people look at you funny. And it works out to be cheaper by buying a big commercial roll. So anyway, toilet roll is #1. Okay, #2, all right, and I'm going to go with a #2, 3, and 4, okay, as a pasta. That's the coffee machine, excuse it. It likes to do this when I do the video. So, a pasta, which is like 28p, okay? We have rice, which is 52p. And we have, in this instance, I do have the split lentils, but we're talking about legumes, okay? So basically, any dried beans and rice will give you a full amount of protein that you'll need and everything else you need to basically survive. But we're talking about just survival, okay? So, 2 of those, they're still very, very cheap, okay? Pasta by itself, of course, again, guys, super cheap, but you can do so much with it. Of course, I appreciate you have to stock the tins with it, but we're talking about the really, really cheap items that you can have. Again, push come to shove, guys, pasta, balls and pasta with a little bit of olive oil if you don't have anything else. So anyway, pasta is great. And salt is still super, super cheap. It went up in price, okay? So it's just a bit over 2 quid per kilo now, but you can buy salt in bulk on Amazon. And I mean, like, if you really wanted to push the boat out like I did, buy them in 25 kilos, you're done. Okay, not as cheap, but buy them in the small ones, it's very cheap. And you can still buy them in the little paper containers that under £1, but strongly suggest to bag them and don't keep them in the paper because it will just go, not manky, but it will just go over the time, absorb moisture and going to be not easily usable. So anyway, salt. At the same time, we're talking about any spices. Here, I've got one from Lidl. That was all-purpose seasoning. This is like a kilo. And I paid, at the time, £1.99. They reduced them to like 50p, so I filled my boots and I filled my shelf because it's super cheap. Again, you can repackage that in a miler or vacuum sealer if you really wanted to, but it's going to be a lifesaver, right? If you're in a desperate position, just rice, it's a bit boring, rice and beans boring, but adding on a bit of salt or adding on any sort of seasoning, guys, it's a good way to go. Yes, of course, you can buy totally individual different spices, whether it's curry spices, whatever you like to have. However, I found where you have a mixture of spices, especially if you're limited on space or finances, buy something that's all-rounder that's going to give you extra flavor for not a lot of money. Right, next thing, let's go with tapes. I keep harping on about the tapes and the importance of having tapes. Beta duct tape and aluminium tapes are our favorite kind of tapes that I like to hoard or stock. Duct tape, we know, guys, if you can't duct it, so duct tape is one of the best things. Aluminium tape, it's super good as well. And the reason I like it, right, first of all, especially the wider, they are the ones made for like for the plumbing, so they are the airtight and watertight tapes. So you can tape your windows if you really wanted to, whether it's been for anti-draft or for whatever reason you choose to do that. It's just a great tape to have. If you have a look like on eBay, you can still pick them up relatively cheaply for the amount of aluminium that you get. Bearing in mind the aluminium is in the short supply and obviously it's quite pricey, so still able to get them for a good price. And reason I use or have the thin ones, if you watch my video, you know when I package rice or anything else in a glass bottles or like a plastic water bottles, I cut this tape in half and I seal the lid. Okay, you don't have to put, if you whatever you store in there, if you're not putting oxygen absorber or whatever, it's just a good idea to seal the lid from just potentially any moisture or any air coming in, and they'll work super good because it's really thin. Okay, and obviously you've got the ribs on the bottle. When you put this on, it kind of just molds itself around it and it creates a really great seal, and this is why this is a winner, and this is why I love to have a lot of that tape. Right, next thing, guys, let's just cover the big elephant in the room, literally, is cable ties. Okay, I think they're really great invention, and yes, we have the monster ones. Believe this or not, okay, I prioritize cable ties up against the cord, although cord is still on the list and is still a great thing to have. You can pick it up cheaply on eBay or Temu, sorry, if you wanted to. Again, I have a big roll of nylon tape rather than the paracord. Again, for my purposes, what I'm thinking is I'm going to be using it for it's a little bit better. But anyway, cable ties, you can see they come in massive sizes and they can come in the little sizes. So I think they're a great thing to have. You can do a lot with cable ties. You can tie a lot, including people's hands. Not that I'm suggesting that, but you know what I mean. You're right. You can do a lot with that. Okay. So yeah, they are on my list. Next thing, let's go with lighters and matches. Again, lighters have increased in price like a lot. Believe this or not, we bought this like a few years back and it was a pack of 50 for, and I'm sure it was about £7. There's no way you'll get this now for that sort of price. So you can see, right, how things are increasing, but you can still buy them cheap. Okay, and you can still pick them up in packs of 4. I've seen the pack of 4 for around £1.50 in Home Bargains, but everywhere in the supermarket you'd be able to pick them up in 2s or 4s for around £1 or £1.50, and they are, again, it's a must as a prepper, guys. They'll last you a lifetime. Okay, so if the SHTF doesn't happen, you'll just go through them for candles, whatever. Okay, and the same is for the matches. Again, if you don't like the lighters, you can buy matches. They are around 54p. I'm going for the extra long ones. Again, it's a personal choice. They kind of seem to be not available everywhere all the time, but they are there, and if you wanted to keep them, have some, they are really a good thing to have as well. And whilst we're on the subject of heat and light, we are talking about the alternate cooking fuel or heating fuel. You can pick those up, right? This is the propane, is it propane? Butane, sorry, butane, used for either the heaters or for your camping hobs. Again, because it's now winter but non-camping time, they are often reduced in price in the Home Bargains or online, especially if you find them on a deal. You can pick them up for around £1 a bottle, which is could be an absolute lifesaver, and it's really super cheap. Okay, next thing I'm gonna cover is the hand sanitizer. And no, guys, I'm not talking about just going out, popping out and, you know, sanitizing hands every 5 minutes. No, I'm talking about having this as an SHTF scenario when, again, SHTF means, guys, there's probably no access to water or limited access to water, or the water is not clean. Having your hands disinfected, especially in terms of if you need to basically help somebody got wounded or hurt, you want your hands to be totally sterile, and this is as close as you're going to get to be able to have your hands sterilized. So this is from that reason alone, guys, it's important. And I'll share this one in a different video, but there are some of them that you can buy in a big 5 litre bottles that I have, actually also able to be used as a fuel. Again, that's for a different video, but yes, hand sanitizers, they're still very, very cheap, even cheaper if you look online, because you can buy them in bulk from people that used to sell them and they take advantage. Now they can't get rid of them, so there we are, good timing. Right, next thing guys is, I just got plasters, but anything at the moment of the first aid kit, especially if you're looking, again, I'm going to mention the home bargains, they are still very cheap. You can buy plasters for like 59p. There's various dressings. Again, I've covered this on the medical video. There's so much you can buy, but as a starting point, if you're new guys, plasters is kind of a go-to and the first thing you should be stocking up on. Right, next thing, ibuprofen or paracetamol, still 36 pence. Again, they are absolutely brilliant. They have a really long shelf life and they do last you past the best before date. Again, I've covered this in a different video. It's an absolute must and is a great butter item. So buy them if you have an issue, if you get headaches a lot. It's something you should be having, and it's still super, super cheap. I know you guys in America, you're always wondering how our tablets are so cheap, but for the 32 or 36 pence, depending, it's 16 tablets that we're getting there. So it's not we're getting 100 or 50, but still it's very, very good. Okay, next thing, because I have mentioned the cord, I'm going to leave this out. Emergency or Mylar blankets, okay? Again, this one is 210 by 130. They are pretty large and they are super cheap. You can get them under £1, okay? If you buy them in a pack of like 5 or 10 or 8, whatever, and just over £1 if you buy them individually. Again, they are great for many uses, guys. I have them in every vehicle. We have them at home. I have them in the bag, our bag. They're great, guys. If you wanted to tape your windows for one reason or the other, you can literally use a whole sheet and tape it for A, for the darkness, and B, for the heat retention. Obviously, you can use them yourself to wrap yourself up for the heat retention. You can make yourself outdoor shelter if you have to, but of course you have to have few. But possibilities are endless and they are super cheap and they're really compact. So it's a really good thing to have. Right, next. Whilst we're on the Mylar and, well, metallic things, foil, okay? Foil is still fairly cheap. Bead is gone up in price a lot and it deteriorated in quality, but you can still pick it up for, it's £1 in Lidl, £1.20 in Asda and Tesco's. You get 20 meters there. It's pretty thin, but again, foil is great for, as you know, like if you have to be cooking outside, you can protect your food, again, wrap up things. Again, it's still to some extent an insulation material anyway, so it is a good thing to have and it's still cheap. And because we're predicted to have more aluminium shortages, it will be only going up in price soon anyway. Right, let's go with candles, guys. Let's go. I just got the crappy little candle here, but tea light and a normal pillar candles are still reasonably cheap, okay? And I've been encouraging you to buy them in the summer because they're cheaper, less demand, more availability. Is a must. Is a prepper, I think, is a must. And I know some of you are like, I'm not prepper, I don't have candles. Well, what's the point? Well, the point is generally you can actually have some light. You know, if we are in the power outage and you want to have some light, yes, we'll have torches, but just nice to have a candle. A tiny bit of warmth for your hand if you have to, but I think they're must. So prepper item is cheap. They don't go out of date. It's something you could just sit in your cupboard and just an emergency you can use it. Candle wax can be used for many other things as well. So to me, again, it deserves to be on that list. Right, next thing, guys, I have is soap. You can still buy this soap so cheaply as well. It's amazing. You can pick up, like some of you said, I haven't seen them in my supermarkets, but at the bottom shelf, like supermarkets special, like 2 for 50p, which is a bargain. Like to disinfect your hands, wash your hands you'd be washing them for 50p for like many months if you just yourself. But again, you'll be surprised, guys, to how in the SHTF scenario, when, you know, things are unimaginably bad, like a little bit of cleanliness can go a really long way. And God help us, we hopefully don't have to go through that kind of scenario. But again, soap is great. If you opt out, guys, for a slightly posher version, which I've got a few of, which are very perfumed, you could just keep them in your cupboard, like in a linen cupboard, and they're just there doing their job for years, and then they're there if you really come to need them. But again, for, you know, a few pennies to have some, I think it's a really good thing to have. And as we are talking about the hygiene and cleanliness, let's cover obviously toothpaste and feminine hygiene. I'm not obviously showing you feminine hygiene because, well, we all know what that looks like. And the same we do with the toothpaste. But toothpaste still, okay, if you're not opting in for paying a £10 for a tube of toothpaste, you can still pick them up for about 99 pence from Home Bargains. And on the deal, I got some from Asda half price for £1.25 for a different one. Depends what you like, but there are budget brands there. You can buy one from 50p from Lidl. So the options are there. And we all know, guys, toothpaste, you know, you really can't do without. To be fair, if you know, been camping for a couple of days and they forgot your toothbrush, you know the feeling you get after a couple of days. I think it's absolute must to have, and it's still super, super cheap to stockpile. Again, don't worry about the dates on the toothpaste, okay? It takes about 3 years past the date I've seen for the toothpaste to start to separate a little bit. But again, it's still rescuable if you kind of swoosh it together. But anyway, if you rotate the stock, it's not a problem. So toothpaste is good. Torch, okay? So torches, guys, you must have. We all know we experience the power cuts at any point, sorry. So torches are really, really important. You can still buy them super cheap, okay? It's nothing overly special, okay? Again, I think majority of us we got from Temu, couple of quid, £2.50. They're actually really good. We have some that went from Temu, but again, they're sort of basic shit origin really, but they still really last you and they still shine pretty good. So you can pick them up cheap enough, okay? One thing I suggest, do not buy the little ones that are battery operated from like £1, like little ones, because they are total utter rubbish. But something a little bit more that's a bit bigger and is rechargeable is best. You can buy them solar rechargeable as well as. So yeah, torches should be again on your priority list too. Right, forgotten to mention, guys, but a broken one. Of course, with the toothbrushes comes toothpaste. You can still pick up a really basic ones really, really cheaply, and obviously one goes without the other. Of course, if you're desperate, you can do without. But whilst they're still cheap, strongly suggest that you stockpile some away. Right, let's talk about now two last things, isn't it? Yeah, I've got the water purification tablets. So we're kind of covering food, water, and obviously the light and food, food preparation, cooking, heat, that kind of thing. Right, the purification tablets, again, they're still very cheap. In spite of the fact the whole preparedness thing been kind of rising, you can still buy them on Amazon in a pack, so like 50 to 100 for like a few quid. And again, it's absolute must. Those ones there, one tablet for 1 litre. You can buy them in different strength, obviously cost you slightly a bit more expensive. However, I just got a load of them, just got a lot of them. They will sit there. They are basically a bleach, if you wish. So alternative to that, guys, which I didn't put up there, but it's bleach. You have bleach. You can buy this for like 50p still or 60p in Lidl. It's a good thing to have for many reasons, as we know, and you can purify water with bleach as well. But for the ease of storage, those tablets are great. And guys, right, the last thing I'm going to mention, and I don't think I really stressed this enough, is the activated charcoal, and not the stuff that you buy on Amazon in like gel tablets. It has to be like a little round tablets from like Eastern Europe. They are literally compressed charcoal with no additives, and it's really good for food poisoning, guys. If you have food poisoning or you get allergic reaction to some sort of insect bite, could be your lifesaver. And on the top of that, guys, it is actually also, as we know, charcoal, really good for brushing your teeth. So all you got to do is to crush this tablet up into a powder, and you can brush your teeth with a finger if you really have to. And again, you can buy them still relatively cheap, okay? They're not available anywhere but eBay, I think. So if you're interested, have a look, but they are honestly a godsend. And at the same time, they actually help indigestion, heartburn, they help all of that. So it's kind of one of the very little known little magic pills. So there we are. So there we are, guys. I hopefully covered the starting point of cheap items. Just to mention one more time, guys, this is just a small selection what you should be having as a prepper. However, I've just included the items that are still currently very cheap. And there will be other things you can include in there. I'm sure, like a shower gels as well. There's loads of other ones. But I think this is kind of the concentrated selection of food, light and hygiene that what we should be having, or you should be having as a new prepper. So anyway, I hopefully enjoy the video. Don't forget thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye bye.